The Vancouver Canucks make multiple surprising moves by keeping two rookies on the roster, placing two players on waivers, and sending multiple players to Abbotsford. I'm going to break down all these moves and more later on this episode. Before I start, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone that's watching. Last episode, I was talking about where people are watching from to leave a comment, and I once again want to get everyone to leave a comment where you're watching from. Just seeing people watching from all over the world is awesome. So if you're watching from BC, if you're watching from Mexico, if you're watching from Hong Kong, let us know down in the comments. It's awesome to read. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is Canucks make multiple roster moves. Now, going into the final preseason game, obviously the Canucks need to trim the roster. They can't go in with 40 players, and that's exactly what we've seen today. We've seen from the Canucks PR going into next game, we see the Canucks make multiple roster updates. The following players have been placed on waivers for the purpose of assignment to Abbotsford. PDG, Nate Smith, we see a defenseman, and we see Jiri Patera. There's multiple guys sent down on waivers to Abbotsford. If these guys get claimed, obviously the Canucks will not have them anymore. And two guys I really wanted to highlight to start off this list was first being Jiri Patera. Jiri Patera came in looking like the third string goaltender. They went out and got Lankinen, and it seems like his spot has been lost. The Canucks are hoping he makes it to Abbotsford, a guy that has played NHL games with the Golden Knights. We can see 2 games with the Golden Knights in 2022-2023, putting up a .929 save percentage. 6 games with the Knights once again with an .893 save percentage. Multiple seasons in the AHL, and it seemed like Jiri Patera had the third string spot almost locked up. But with him being placed on waivers, it seems like Patera, just at 25 years old, may get claimed. I mean, you're looking around the league, a team like the Boston Bruins are without Jeremy Swayman. We see a guy like from the Anaheim Ducks with John Gibson going down with an injury. Multiple teams are looking at goaltenders, and Jiri Patera clearing waivers might not happen. Looking at the list once again, though, not only Jiri Patera, but a guy like PDG has a chance to be claimed by another team going into next season. Looking at PDG, he had multiple seasons. You can see with the Carolina Hurricanes, the Nashville Predators, New York Rangers, and the final 3 seasons, or final 2, this being the third if he stays, with the Vancouver Canucks. Last year in 51 games, 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points. We see 11 games in the playoffs, including 1 giant goal in the playoffs, 1 assist, and 2 assists. PDG is a guy that would be nice to keep on the Canucks. He's a veteran presence, a guy with a low cap hit that could make a jump to join this Canucks team if another injury happens in between. We see a guy like PDG who has a lot of experience, 282 games. We can see multiple seasons with multiple different franchises, having a career high of 7 goals and a career high of 10 assists in his rookie season in 2015, where he put up 17 points. But having a guy that you can put into this lineup, a guy that knows the system for such a cheap cap hit, is undervalued in this league. So having him come back would be awesome, but there is a high chance that we see Jiri Patera and a guy like PDG both be claimed. But continuing on, and before we get into the second topic, we see multiple other moves. Linus Karlsson has been sent down to Abbotsford. Jonathan Lekermacki, which I'm not happy, but I think he will have a dominant year in the AHL, and it is probably for the best if he starts off down there. Ty Mueller, Max Sasson, Christian Felton, you can work your way down. And the biggest names not on this list, and before I get to that, Elias Pettersson, DPD being down there, and Tolopilo. The biggest thing with this, though, and the most surprising things about this list as well, is that the Canucks have made some moves, and they've kept 2 rookies on the roster. First one being Atu Ratu. Talked about him in a video today. I know a lot of people in the comments have been loving his game in the preseason, and it seems like Ratu is getting another shot. We see Ratu just last season playing 3 games with the Canucks with 1 assist. We've seen him come into this preseason, lighting it up, looking outstanding, being great on the faceoff dot. A guy that was once traded for Bo Horvat, or we traded Bo Horvat to get Ratu. But having Ratu showing his worth in this preseason, it seems like they're really keen on keeping him in this lineup. And the biggest thing is they did not send him down, so he's going to get another preseason game. And I do truly think we're going to see Ratu make this starting lineup for day 1 of the season when the Canucks play. Now, there is one more player and one more prospect that has not been sent down, and that is Arshdeep Bains. Bains was a guy that came up for 8 games. Rick Tocchet talked highly of a guy like Bains last season. He didn't get on the score sheet, but a guy like Bains was relentless on the forecheck. We've seen Bains come into camp and once again look great on this Canucks team. Him and a guy like Ratu are going to really fight for the final spot. They're going to look to make this team make an impact. I talked about how Ratu is on the last year of his contract of his entry-level deal. He is in RFA going into next season. So maybe the Canucks are looking at a guy like Ratu and saying, hey, we want to know what you can do for this organization. We're going to give you the start. When you're looking at this list, once again, this is from Daily Faceoffs. This is not what I have here. Jonathan Lekkerimäki has been demoted to the Abbotsford Canucks. I don't even want to say demoted. He was assigned to the Abbotsford Canucks where he can continue to develop on North American ice. So there is one extra spot on this team. A guy like Amon could make it into this lineup, but I do think they're going to do a little change up. I mean, last season we've seen a lineup like Pius Suter, JT Miller, and Boeser really dominate. So maybe we see a guy like Suter get bumped up to the top line. A guy like Jonathan Lekkerimäki will not be in this lineup. A guy like Daniel Sprong can bump up. A guy like Teddy Bluger can move down. And I think Ratu would get a lot of exposure and a lot of worth within this lineup to play this third line spot. We're looking at a team that does not have Dakota Joshua to start the year, so putting in a big body like Ratu into this third line center to let him work with a guy like Höglander and a guy like Connor Garland, two workhorses that are going to work their tails off to keep the puck. I think Ratu's going to fit perfectly in this line or on the fourth line. I can't see him making it into the top six. I think we're going to see Tocchet maybe work with a guy like Höglander, maybe a guy like Daniel Sprong, or even maybe a guy like Garland on the second line. But I do think we're going to see Ratu start the season with the Canucks, and it is quite exciting to finally see fresh faces. I know someone in the comments said the exact same thing, but seeing new faceless prospects finally making the jump, like a guy like Ratu, maybe even a guy like Archie Baines. One of these guys are set to make the lineup, or at least stay with the Canucks for the next little bit. Now, I know a lot of people have been talking about how I haven't really touched on the defense, but looking at the defense, it seems like it's pretty set. Hughes, Hronek, Susie Myers, Forbert, who is the new face, and Darnay's, who's the new face. That is going to be a hard line to play against, where I think the average size is about 6'6". But looking at these lineups, a guy like Noah Juleson is still with the Canucks, so it seems like he will come in as the seventh defenseman. Obviously, the Canucks can continue to look for another defenseman, another puck mover, but right now, all rookies seem to be sent down, and it seems like the last spot is really left up to a guy like Archie Baines, who I think has a legitimate chance, a BC-born boy. I'm super excited to see his developments, and a guy like Ratu, who I think has earned the opportunity and the shot to make this Canucks team, and it's going to be quite exciting to see what the Canucks do over the next 72 hours with this team. But what are your guys' thoughts on everything I talked about? Would you like to see a guy like Ratu or Archie Baines make it into this lineup? What's your thoughts on what some of the guys that have been sent down to Abbotsford? Do you think a guy like DPD, a guy like Tolopilo, a guy like Carlson, a guy like Jonathan Lekkerimäki are going to dominate in the AHL? Let me know down in the comments. But speaking on comments, we'll hop into everyone's favorite topic, which is comment of the day. The comment of the day, sorry about that, comes from Sports Muppets, and he says, I started listening to Canucks games over the radio in the 73s. It's awesome to see. Like I said, I've been asking people how they became a fan of the Canucks, where they're listening to. What is your favorite moment from Canucks history? Let me know down in the comments. I love reading through them. And with this season feeling special, with the season being so just hyped up and anticipated, I want to know what everyone's favorite memories are. Was it last year in the playoffs? Was it any signings? Was it a guy like Quinn Hughes winning the Norris? Is it a guy like Roberto Luongo, who's on the poster behind me? Let me know down in the comments what made you become a Canucks fan. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark Pye. Take care.